What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a video. We're going to break down Tesla very quick for you guys. So something you have to understand about Tesla is they just recently turned a profit. Not recently, but pretty recent. They just turned a profit, and that was really big for the company because for the longest time, they were not able to turn a profit. And for an investor, that's a big reason to invest in a company, that they're an actual profitable company. That would be one of the main reasons why you would choose to buy a particular company. And since Tesla had a hard time ever producing a profit, a lot of investors weren't investing or they were scared to invest. Tesla had recently turned a profit. That's good. Now we have to look at just how unique and skilled Tesla is as a whole alongside with Elon. If you look at their cars, they have some of the best looking electric cars when it comes to the electric car industry. Other car makers are catching up and they are starting to get up to speed, somewhat comparable to Tesla, but Tesla still dominates the market when it comes to electric cars in the first place. So you have Tesla now turning a profit that also dominates the electric car market. Okay. Secondly, think about how quickly the Cybertruck gained traction amongst the internet and amongst consumers. Pretty much as soon as the Cybertruck was launched, within 1 week, the whole planet already knew about it. And the company really didn't do any paid advertising. So look at a company like Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, doesn't really matter. You constantly see advertisements on your TV, your phone, everywhere for their new Christmas holiday sale where you can save $1,000 off the car that costs $75,000. So really not much of a big sale anyways. But anyways, you're seeing all these advertisements for these other car companies to promote their new car or their new launch of their new version of the car, whatever it might be. But they're constantly having to run and spend tons of money on advertising, which takes away from the end profit of the company, obviously, because that would be a business expense. So for someone like Tesla, if you think about it, it's quite amazing the capabilities that they've been able to reach in regards to their cars. I mean, everybody sees them, everybody knows them, everybody knows what they look like, but they really don't do any paid advertising. So Tesla has found a way to engrave themselves into a new market, and they found a way to do it in which they don't have to spend any money advertising just to get people to talk about their cars. Because if you look at the Cybertruck, it is the most unique, most outrageous looking vehicle that we've ever seen even hit the pavement or hit the road here in the world. So for that, the whole world is talking about it. So Elon and Tesla have done just a phenomenal job in terms of getting people's attention to their products, whether it's because they look good or they look shitty, it doesn't really matter. People are looking at them, and that is a big plus for Tesla. So now that you have all that information, let's go ahead and let's actually look at the stock chart here. So what we're going to talk about is whether or not you should buy Tesla now that it's into all-time highs. And if you were going to buy Tesla, how would you probably want to go about doing so? If you're a day trader, you can trade Tesla on any day you want because if you're good at recognizing patterns, support, and resistance, you're going to find a way to make money on Tesla stock pretty much any day. Because of the amount of money that it moves or the amount of range it has, there's a way to make money on it pretty much any day. But if you're someone that's actually looking to buy, maybe even doing a swing trade, and you're hearing all this hype about Tesla right now being into all-time highs and crushing it, the question you ask yourself is, should I buy? And really the answer is probably no, you shouldn't just because it's going into all-time highs. See, there's this kind of stigma almost in the world or in the trading world amongst retail investors and, just average Joe investors that when a stock is making all-time highs, that it becomes a good buy because there's this idea that if it's going into all-time highs, they must be doing really good so that I'm going to buy, which is kind of true. But on the same token, no, because if it's at all-time highs, that means it's the highest that it's ever reached, which means it could be the most expensive it's ever been in actuality. So it's kind of a catch-22 phrase there when you say a stock's into all-time highs and what the real meaning is behind it. So let's get into looking at the chart. First, we're going to be taking a look at kind of a couple-year chart here, so let me do that. So this is a 10-year weekly chart, and you can clearly see that Tesla has now reached an all-time high move. And what we know is the move up was extremely aggressive. This wasn't just a trending move. It didn't trend up. It pretty much shot straight up. If you look at this move, majority of this move happened over the course of 3 weeks. Ready? 1 week, 2 weeks. So most of the movement from, kind of this base point to the all-time high happened in 3 weeks. So a really fast, aggressive price change for a stock to make it into all-time highs. So we have extreme volatility pushing a stock into all-time highs. Usually what's surrounding that is a lot of FOMO and greed. So there's a lot of people just kind of jumping on this hype train, trying to make money right now is really what's happening. And the stock is what we call melting up. Basically, it's just keeps going up, kind of pushing up because there's a lot of FOMO, there's a lot of greed, and there's a lot of anxiety revolving around the stock. It's very hyped up, and a lot of people are just buying because why the hell not? Look at the Cybertruck. It's amazing. That's kind of what's happening right now. So if I were to want to buy Tesla, or if I were somebody that wanted to swing trade Tesla, what I would be looking for in the coming weeks is to see Tesla actually come down. That would be the most logical and or the most expected thing for me to want to get into the stock. I would want to see Tesla come down and actually retest the level that it's breaking out from. So we pushed up, we pulled back here, and then the stock moves up into over 360. Ideally, you want to be seeing the stock hold support from the all-time high to 360, meaning we want to see this come back down, and we want to see it hold within this range and not break down. If it can hold in between 360 and 380 successfully, or over 386, 390 right here, so pretty much anything from just above this level and this one without breaking down, that could be a good sign that Tesla does in fact want to remain at all-time highs. See, the takeaway from what I just explained is just because a stock moves into all-time highs does not mean it wants to stay there. Just because I moved to California doesn't mean I'm going to stay there for the rest of my life. I might just go and check it out for 2 years and decide that I don't like it at all, and I'm going to pull back to Michigan, meaning just because Tesla goes to all-time highs doesn't mean it really wants to be there. It might, in fact, pull back down to 380, 360, and then all the way back down to 180. It's possible, very unlikely, but it's possible. So again, just because we got up there doesn't mean we're going to stay there. So again, if you're someone swing trading, someone that's looking at buying Tesla, really the most important question you'd want to ask yourself from a technical standpoint is for one, do I even believe in the company? That's more like fundamental. But a technical side is, do I believe that after we press into all-time highs, can the stock successfully stay above $3.57 or $357, excuse me. Can it stay above 357 to 380? Now, I want to look at this over like a yearly chart or maybe a 2-year chart. So again, that's really it. That's the break into all-time highs. And what we see commonly with stocks is once they make a break into kind of a new uncharted area, a lot of times they'll pull back and they'll retest the area or retest previous resistance. So if you're not familiar with what resistance is, it's where the stock could not break through. So again, the stock could not get through 390, could not get through 390, could not get through 390, could not get through 390. We get through 390. We pull back, we test 390. If the stock tests 390 and holds successfully, that can be a good sign that it's in fact going to be moving higher. So in the coming weeks to coming days, the most important thing that you could be doing for Tesla or doing on Tesla is watching to see if it stays over the all-time high and or this $357 mark. If Tesla in the shorter time frame, maybe a week or so, is holding above 389, there's a good chance that in a sooner time frame, quicker, we'll be seeing it move into another new all-time high. If it were to pull back and not hold the 390 mark, there's a good chance we would then come down a little bit lower, maybe test 357, and then just kind of trade in this channel like you see here. And then we actually might move lower. So again, really the most important thing we can see right now is just to watch Tesla carefully to make sure that it stays above the previous all-time highs of $390. If it can do that, there's a strong chance we're going to be seeing Tesla continue moving into all-time highs. So I hope you guys liked the video. I hope it was quick enough, and I hope you learned something, and I will see you guys on the next video. Everybody, take care.